Welcome, Mouse Ears Universe. Thank you for joining us here on the Mouse Ears Podcast, your go-to source for all things travel, but mostly Disney. Sponsored by Fairy Tale Journeys Travel. Whether you're a first-time listener or a pro at the parks, we're here to bring you the latest news, insider secrets, and fun stories from the happiest and most magical places on Earth. Make sure you give us a like and a follow on whichever platform you are listening to or watching us. And don't forget to check out mouseearsblog.com, where we dive even deeper into Disney trips, trip planning, and all the park magic in one location. Today or tonight is Guys Night. And we're talking about one of the most underrated movies in all of Disney, nay, all of film. A Goofy movie. So join us as we unlock the magic of this true Disney classic. And now let's jump into the episode because the magic starts right now. Ears Universe. I am back. Guess who's back? Back again. Brooks is back. Tell a friend. Guess who's back? I don't want to get copyrighted. I am one of your wonderful hosts tonight, Brooks, and with me is my partner in crime, the other half of Guys Night, the Funkle himself, Kelton. Kelton, how are you doing?
Hey, Brooks. I'm happy to have you back.
It's good to be back. I have missed y'all.
It really is. We have missed you big time, and I think
I have really missed y'all.
I'm telling you.
I mean,
if I
had a choice between being on here and working overtime, I would rather be on here. So,
absolutely. I mean, this beats working overtime any day of the week.
Week, month, year.
Does not matter.
That's right. But before we dive into today's episode, which I am truly excited about today's episode, it is one of our favorite parts of the whole process, trivia. Kelton, I know you were a little froggy in the throat. Do you want me to take the trivia?
No, I got it. I'll do it.
Okay.
Yeah, it's been a long week, but I'll see if I can get through the trivia here without having to, hack up a lung for all of our listeners. But as always, today's trivia question is brought to us by the fabulous sponsors, Fairy Tale Journeys Travel. Next time you want to book a Disney cruise, let the agents at Fairy Tale Journeys take care of all the details for a stress-free experience at no extra cost to you. When you book with them, not only do you get expert advice, but you can also receive up to $1,000 of onboard credit. This offer is exclusive to bookings made with FTJ. So contact them today and let them know that the podcast sent you so you can enjoy a magical Disney cruise getaway. So, because tonight we're talking about my favorite movie, your favorite movie. It should be everybody's favorite movie at this point.
We're talking about the Country Bears. No, I'm kidding.
Still a little sour on that one. But since tonight's theme is a Goofy movie, and then we have the documentary, Not Just a Goof, that just came out as well on Disney Plus. So here's today's trivia question, or I should say this episode's trivia question. What famous musicians were the inspiration for the Powerline character? Now, if you did watch Not Just a Goof, you should know this answer. We're not going to give you any hints, but if you don't know it, maybe pause this, go watch, come back. You'll know it by the time Brooks and I are done talking about it. So the question was, what famous musicians were the inspiration for the Powerline character? Brooks, back to you.
All right. Thank you, Kelton. Oh, you're so good at the trivia. Let me tell
Well,
you.
thank you. Hey, what did you think of my after hours introduction a couple episodes back?
Oh, I loved it.
Well, I hope the people did too.
I love it. Oh, so again,
Yeah.
if you haven't um figured it out by now, we're doing something a little different here this episode. Um Usually we're a podcast about all things travel, but mostly Disney. We're going into a topic that's not really represented that much, if except for merch, really, in the parks at all.
Well, yeah, and this year's a big one.
Yeah. So we are talking about the 1995 classic, A Goofy Movie. Now, I grew up watching this movie constantly. Um, it was, and uh, uh, I would say probably some OG fans that listened to the BB and J podcast. That was a podcast that my brother and I did for a couple of episodes. One of the episodes we did was our favorite Disney movies. Um, and at the time, I didn't really think about it, but he had a Goofy movie in his top 5. Um, and I would say as I've gotten older, my list has changed. And I would say a Goofy movie is just one of those that, I mean, I could watch every day.
Over
Um,
and over,
oh
easily.
yeah, easily. Number one, not very long. It is under 80 minutes. Um, I feel like there are some like episodes on Disney Plus now of their series that are longer than this
Yeah, I think
animated
so.
film. Um, but is one of those that has just it's aged very well. Um, I feel like we're going to reference the documentary that just came out here recently a lot. Uh but it's one of those that now I feel like it's starting to get even more of a resurgence because people that watched it when they were kids are now watching it with their children. Um and
Well, and that's a very interesting point, especially with, y'all having Ellie, we have Kenny.
mhm,
We've watched it with Kenny a number of times, and I sit there and go, well, man, first off, this is definitely a much shorter movie than what the movies they're making now. But after watching the documentary, because we just finished that just a couple of hours ago,
mhm,
after watching the documentary, it very interesting. I think it's great that Disney put out something like that, telling the backstory
mhm.
uh, on that, because that's stuff that you'd never know.
Right.
So I think it's great.
Yeah. And I've always been a fan of the music as well.
Yeah.
Eye to Eye is probably my favorite Disney song. Um, it is one that I listen to and I instantly get pumped. I don't know how many times when I ran my half marathon, I don't know how many times I listened to that song. Whenever I was getting low on energy, I just turn on that song and all of a sudden I'm like, oh, I'm running again. Um,
That is the power of music.
yes. But like even not just I mean the two songs that really stand out, pun intended, are I mean Eye to Eye and Stand Out, uh, both brilliantly performed by Tevin Campbell. Um, but I mean even like the other songs in like
On the open.
On the Open Road,
Hmm.
Lester's Possum Park,
Come on.
which I mean, I until I started listening to the soundtrack, didn't realize there was like a whole other verse to that song and everything. That's not even featured in the movies.
It's nuts. That's
Yeah,
a great part of the movie.
yeah.
I love Lester's.
Uh, don't you want to be hanging from a tree? And the parking's always free, which is rare to find this day and age.
That's true.
I mean, you
Pay
stay
to
at a
park
hotel.
everywhere.
You stay at a hotel, you pay for parking. I pay for parking to park at work.
You
Now,
know? Yeah.
I it's for a better parking space, for a guaranteed parking space. Otherwise, I would have to get there like an hour early to fight all the students.
No, thank you.
Nope. And even then, we get a little bit of rain, and that lot's flooded. Um, but then you have the heartfelt song "Nobody Else But You" with Goof and Max just on their car. So
Yeah,
as you can
that's
tell, like it's one that really hits. But if you have not seen a Goofy movie,
what are you doing?
that why are you listening to us? It's the one time I would say, go stop listening to us, go watch it, and then come back.
Make
Uh,
sure to come back.
yeah. One one of my coworkers today, I was talking about we were going to be talking about a Goofy movie. She was like, I have never watched it. I looked at her. I'm like, well, I know what you're doing tonight. So Lori, you better have watched a Goofy movie. But little synopsis. Uh, a Goofy movie is a 1995 American animated musical comedy adventure film produced by Walt Disney Television Animation, directed by Kevin Lima, um, which he also went on to direct another movie with incredible music, Tarzan. Uh, the film is based on the Disney afternoon television series Goof Troop, and serves as a standalone spinoff to the show. Taking place 3 years after the events of Goof Troop, the film follows Goofy and his now teenage son Max as they embark on a misguided cross country father son fishing trip across the United States.
Misguided was a great way to put that.
Yeah. Uh, it, I mean, number one, like, Goofy must have some amazing PTO to be able to just
Ride across the country.
that afternoon, just, you know what? I'm going to go on a camping trip with my son and his boss too, Pete, was able to just do the exact same thing.
Anybody else jealous of the I don't even know the right word to put it, but it was a glamper, I'll call it, when they pull up in the national forest, and poor Goofy and Max are, in the tent, and here comes Pete and some 57-foot monster of a motorhome, bowling alley,
I was going to say, with the bowling
jacuzzi.
alley.
What else do we have? Oh, the huge satellites and all the cables running around, and then the patio doesn't it? I think it falls like right on top of
Yeah.
Goofy's to put. Goofy's just a dad that's trying, like the rest of us in America.
So, but and then also, like, whenever they're Goofy and Max are in that hotel, and he like, oh, it's just a little tiny cord. So, but again, it's a movie that has aged well. Growing up, you could relate to Max. You're just wanting to do your own thing,
Live your own life.
right? And then now, as an adult, and more so as a parent, you're like, you just want to hold on and cherish each moment. Literally, when at one point when they're having the fight, I'm not a little boy anymore. He's like, yeah,
Yeah,
but you're my little boy. I remember having that exact same conversation with my dad.
that
So,
one, that one hurt, and all I could do, I just picked up Kenny and I hugged him because they grow up fast.
yeah,
So
I do that with Ellie, and she'll be like, no.
no, no, and they just scream and start to wiggle
And you're
away.
just like, you don't understand. Just I'm gonna hold you tighter.
Yep, that's right. Should we you want to talk a little bit about the documentary?
Sure. So, what kind of sparked all this is the documentary that was just released on April 7th on Disney Plus, Not Just a Goof. Um, it actually premiered at Docklands Documentary Film Festival on May the 4th, be with you,
And also with you.
2000, 2024. And then it was released on Disney Plus on April 7th, 2025. Exactly 30 years. Doesn't that make you feel old? After a goofy after a goofy movie was released.
It'll be okay, Brooks, I promise. We'll make it through this episode.
Uh
It's gonna be rough.
but before we get into talking about the documentary, which actually was longer than the
Movie itself.
the movie itself. One thing too that I saw someone talking about, and I'm like, I completely forgot about that part. If you had the VHS, which I definitely did, you had previews before the movie. Nowadays, you can just start the movie right up. But it um had this music video that really absolutely nothing to do with the Goofy movie, but it was Dr. Looney's Remedy. And it's just this crazy. If you have a chance, look it up. Parachute Express song called Dr. Looney's Remedy on their video. Apparently, they had a video called "Come Sing with Us." I guess they did a bunch of songs, and they picked the Dr. Looney's Remedy to put on that
Well, that's
movie.
interesting.
So, but did you ever see that music video?
I did not. I mean, now,
Oh man.
so, but now you do have to remember 1995. Actually, when the movie came out April 7th, I was 3. Because my birthday actually falls just a couple of days, past that. So I don't remember too much probably until the late, 1998, 1999 when I really start remembering stuff. But I do remember
Mhm.
watching it on VHS. So I don't remember the music video in the beginning.
It's just this kind of crazy. We'll pull it up later, but it's just one of these crazy music videos.
That's awesome.
But with the documentary, I didn't realize how close this movie probably was from not being released at all.
So it's funny that you mentioned something like that because it we had The Lion King that released the year before,
Mhm.
which of course we all know did fantastic. And then the unfortunateness with Jeffrey Katzenberg getting axed by Eisner. I would love
Yeah.
first of all, I would love to know what happened there. Because throughout the documentary, I mean, so we saw in the beginning on how everything was coming together, which I thought was absolutely crazy. I mean, they had an $18 million budget, which in the 90s had to have been, outrageous. But when you're hand drawing every
I mean,
single
compared
thing,
I would say compared to other movies is not huge.
no, it's not. And
In comparison, The Lion King had a $45 million budget.
yeah.
So almost a third of the money. And they were trying to see if they could make, a popular movie with not spending that much money.
Which so you almost have to look at it. So I kind of understand where Jeffrey Katzenberg was kind of coming from throughout the documentary when they're talking, they're showing them the storyboards and then making the different screen recordings and things and talking how it was just different. Think of all the movies before this one, how, there was always a villain. There
Mm-hmm.
was a parent that was no longer there, type of thing. This was completely new to the Disney company. And it was just, we going from a goof troop in the kind of goofy, it's not the right word, but uh not really fumbling either. He's just kind of a different character to having a, being a father and trying to do good by his son and all. It's just a very different movie than what Disney was making at the time. So I don't know what they were trying, like what the upper leaders in, Walt Disney animation were thinking, trying to axe this movie, because man, it was killing. And I don't know what happened or why it took so long to become as popular as it is now. I mean, I'd love to know,
Yeah.
but went a little off topic from the documentary there.
What I mean, I feel like it's exactly. I feel like it's right on topic, especially if we're talking about the documentary. Um, because like I mean, number one, like usually were they had like 4 or 5 years for an animated movie. They did this in 2.5.
Yeah,
They had a smaller team. They talked about it was mainly animated in uh
in
Disney
France,
and yeah, Disney Animation Paris. Um so but I
which
would say I would say the biggest thing was, and it was really the first, they have not, I feel like they haven't really done it since either. They took one of their core, one of the Fab Five, that a character that everyone recognizes, but I mean his name is uh goes along with just being a
mhm,
goofball. Like his name is Goofy, and grow like that's how I would describe myself. I'm a goofy guy. Um, but it was showing that there's more to these characters, and like you saw it a little bit with Goof Troop, which if you have not seen, oh those Disney afternoon, number one, amazing, intro music. My father, my son. Oh man. Um, but it took a character and gave him layers. And, I think they said at one point, try to create a John Hughes film in animation. Because like you said, they did something different. It wasn't a too like it wasn't the character taking on a bad guy and everything. It's really just a father and son taking a trip. Like these
wanting,
Goofy and
wanting to make
Max
those
do, yeah.
memories.
Goofy and Max do some heavy lifting in this film, but not only that, the actors themselves, like taking, the voice of Goofy, he's been in voice for years, Bill Farmer, amazing being able to, and this is something that is amazing to me with voice actors, being able to take that voice but then also create that feeling and that emotion while being in that voice. Like you can tell that every person in this movie put their heart and soul into it. And I feel like that's part of why it has stood the test of
Test of
time.
time. Bill Farmer truly is Goofy. There will, when the unfortunate time comes, there will be no more Goofy in my eyes. Jason Marsden is Max.
Yeah.
You know, Jim Cummings is just a plethora of, of
Mm-hmm.
characters, almost the same way as when, when you look at Ryan Reynolds, it's Deadpool. That's just how,
Yeah.
that's just how it goes. And it is true. And that's what was really cool about the documentary, is being able to see, you know, clips of when they do their sound record, when they're recording for the video presentation or the movie presentation to Jeffrey Katzenberg. And having Bill Farmer and Jason Marsden sit there and talk, about their experiences from 30 years ago. And
Mm-hmm.
plus, I mean, then look at everybody. Like Bill Farmer, he's looking really good for being 30 years older. It doesn't look like
Yeah.
he's changed very much to begin
No.
with.
But then looking back to like some of the names that they had, Paulson as PJ, which he was on Animaniacs as well. And then the principal, it was Inconceivable with the principal, Wallace Shawn, which, uh, oh man, I cannot think, the Sicilian, I cannot think of his name in Princess Bride. But
Yeah, that escapes me too.
you have not seen The Princess Bride?
No, I've seen A Princess Bride, but I can't think of the name.
Yeah. But it's inconceivable that I cannot think of the name.
I'm not
His name.
uncultured, Brooks. Of course I've seen Princess Bride.
Hey, Kelsey had never seen The Princess Bride until I met her. Um, but
Well, then you got uh who is that? Jenna Von, is it Boy? I don't know how to,
yeah,
because
Jenna Von
um
Oy.
as Stacy. That so
Stacy,
talk to
talk
me,
to me,
talk to
talk
me,
to me,
talk to
talk
me,
to me,
baby.
baby.
God, I love that. You know where that did you hear where that came from? That was in the I think in the documentary.
Mm-hmm.
That line is actually from kind of an R&B rap song from the 90s. I mean, Stacy's not the name that they shout, but
Right.
that line, yeah, it's so when, as they're sitting in the auditorium getting ready, like for summer, and that kills me. I say that to Casey all the time.
What
I love
the
that.
Casey? Oh,
Oh my
you
gosh.
say talk to me, talk to me, talk to me, baby.
Hey. And
But it's
then
fun. It's funny that because she voiced Stacy, which at that time she was popular for being on the show Blossom. That might be before your time.
I think so.
So that was a very popular show in the early '90s, from 1990 to 1995. Mayim Bullock, that played Sheldon's wife on Big Bang Theory.
Amy, yes.
Yeah, Amy Farrah Fowler. That's where she got her big start. That's where she was known from.
Oh, okay.
But Jenna Von Oy played Blossom's best friend, and believe her and Blossom's brother. Um, yeah, Blossom's brother Joey, or better known Joey Lawrence. Yo. Um, he was also, I didn't know this, but he was also in the movie too. Again, that might be a little more again before your time.
It was, yeah.
Um, if you see a picture of him, you would know who he is. Do you know the Lawrence brothers?
Yes, the
He's
name
the
sounds familiar,
Yeah,
but
he's the oldest one.
gotcha.
Um, but yeah, like it's amazing the people that they got to work on this movie. Getting a young, we talked to him a little bit about him before, but Tevin Campbell just crushing it as Powerline. Um,
That was a great pick.
yeah, the fact that the way that they found him to, just the producer that they were working with the movie is like, hey,
I
I'm
know a
working with,
guy.
yeah, working with Prince over here. You know, just happen to be working with Prince, and there's this guy. And then we also have the backup singers for Prince and one of the feature singers for Prince.
So let's just bring them all in and
we're
sing
just
a
bring
couple of
them all in.
songs.
I'd say Disney in the early 90s,
Killed it.
Their music, and I say that too, they have good music now, don't get me wrong. And
it hits different.
Yeah, this may be a hot take for some people. It is not as good as this movie with Eye to Eye and Stand Out. Bringing in Elton John for The Lion King.
How about Phil Collins for Tarzan?
Yeah, I mean Kevin Lima has something.
Yeah. It does. The music truly hit. I mean, we've got great music now from, from even all the Frozens. Moana has a killer soundtrack. Encanto's got a great soundtrack. I'm even fans of oh my gosh, Cars. Wow, I can't believe that escaped me. I'm a huge Rascal Flatts fan from, and they're from they're the 90s there. So it's all great music, but there's just something about the music from the earlier. I 100% in agreement with you there.
Yeah. But to me, it's interesting too. So the director, he was previously an animator. Worked on. I don't know if you ever saw A Brave Little Toaster. He worked on that.
Yes.
He worked on Oliver and Company. Great music as well.
Billy Joel.
Yep. He worked on The Little Mermaid. He worked on Rescuers Down Under.
Come on, let's go.
Beauty and the Beast. Rover Dangerfield.
That one I don't know.
Ronnie Dangerfield. No respect. No respect.
Yes.
Basically, they made him a dog. And then they animated him as a dog. No kidding. He also worked on Aladdin. The story with Aladdin.
Killer
and then
soundtrack.
That's when they brought him in to be to help create a Goofy movie. Which he also voiced Lester in Lester.
Who's your favorite Possum?
He was also the growling noises for Roxanne's father.
I kind of understand Roxanne's father a little bit.
And then, I definitely do with my little girl.
Mm-hmm.
And then he was the security guard chasing Max. So, but it's funny that you talked about Frozen, the movie that he next directed, Tarzan. His co-director was Christopher Buck, who then became the director for Surf's Up, Frozen, Frozen 2, Wish.
Forgot about Surf's Up.
Yeah, that's a good movie too. But we're getting off track a little bit.
Yeah, should we kick on over to honestly our favorite movie? A Goofy movie?
Yeah.
So breaking down, I mean, what we can start with what's your favorite part of you actually gotta pick a favorite part because there's a lot.
Oh yeah, there's a lot to choose from.
I mean, do you have one off the top of your head?
All the above? No, I'm kidding.
And it could be a couple, one of mine.
Why don't you go first?
So, first off, Lester's the Possum Park. That whole scene is straight.
Oh yeah,
Country
Comedy
Bear
gold.
Jamboree before the refurb, 100%. And then on top of that, when Bigfoot ends up with the headphones on his head and he's just listening to the disco, he's just kind of like, those are, of course. And then you can't forget. Well, I'll let you, because I know there's a couple of good ones that are, and there's one playing behind you right now.
Oh yeah, the concert.
Yeah.
But when you're talking about Bigfoot, probably one of my favorite parts is this one.
I love it. Goofy's sitting there with the camera and just asking them to back up a bit.
It's probably a 2-pounder.
Oh. And then You know, it.
I mean, I'll say this too. I was a little bit old. One, I would say one of my first crushes was probably Roxanne.
Roxanne, mine
Yeah,
too.
I mean,
She was just something
yeah.
else. So, and then a very, because so this is where this movie gets a little different from, the previous ones that Walt Disney Animation put out. The sentimentalness between a father and the son as
Mm-hmm.
Bigfoot is sleeping on top of the car,
Oh yeah.
and Max hands his dad the empty cup of soup, and there's 5 letters at the bottom, and it spells out "Hi, Dad."
Mm-hmm.
Goofy looks up, and Max is curling up in the passenger seat. And I'm just like, oh, done, no more, can't do it.
Yeah, he's gonna
That
be like, Dad, why do we have to watch this movie like in increments?
I have to cry. Give me just a second.
And it's like, number one, son, great use of that word.
There's a lot of really, very very creative
Mm-hmm.
scenes in this movie.
Oh yeah. I mean it I feel like it captures a real relationship between a father and son growing up. Um and another movie that I feel like kind of captures like real relationships. But like is another kind of underrated movie, Onward, kind of a older brother and a younger brother. That one, I remember seeing that one, and literally after we finished, Kelsey turns to me, it's like, you need to watch that with your brother. Cause like going off a little bit with a Goofy movie, like growing up, I wasn't the closest with my dad. Um, we got closer later as I got older, but I was very close with my brother. Um, and like when I talk about like without Onward, like seeing how the brother was always there for the older brother's there for his younger brother reminded me a lot of my brother. But with the Goofy movie too, where like the father is trying to have the relationship with the son, and the son is pushing back. For a while, I did that. Um, but as I got older, we got a lot closer. Uh, and literally, a lot of the stuff that kind of came up in this movie, my father and I had as well. Didn't mean to talk about any of this. Uh,
See, we do get
but
sentimental here
yeah,
on the Mouse Ears podcast. I mean, if you
every
don't believe
guy's
us,
night.
yeah, I was say if you don't believe us, go back to I want to say it's season 2, and when we talk about, I want to say it's our favorite fireworks show, and it just goes real serious about
I mean,
wishes
happily, yeah. I was going to say happily
or
ever after
happily ever
versus
after.
happily after versus wishes.
That's the one.
Mm-hmm.
That was a real serious episode.
But yeah, the like, and I feel like what makes a Goofy movie timeless, and there aren't. I mean, again, I love Disney movies, but I feel like there aren't a ton of Disney movies that have aged as well as a Goofy movie has.
I can agree
Um,
with you on that.
but and it's something that they tried to do, and I feel like they succeeded wholeheartedly. They tried to show a real relationship between a father and son, and it between the two, and it went from both like the country song, I start walking one way, you start walking mine, we meet in the middle. They both gave ground to meet in the middle to create that relationship.
Pretty sure that's a Diamond Rio song.
Yeah. But and that's real. That's growing up.
Yep.
Uh
Well, so Max says it they say it right when they are on top of Goofy's car floating down the river, and all Max is saying is how he just wants to kind of build his life on his own.
Mm-hmm.
And Goofy's response was he just wants to be a part of it.
Right.
No, he's not trying to hold them back, but just be included.
Right.
Especially with Max being his only son. I mean, Goofy's just on his own.
Yeah.
Well, until the second movie
It's an extremely goofy movie.
that gets his girlfriend.
Yeah.
Oh, it is so. And then going along with that, I mean, we've got a few other excellent songs. Like "On the Open Road" is probably another one of my favorites. And this is where I think the animators get really creative. And if you haven't seen it, they're on a highway, interstate, however you want to call it. And as they're going down and singing, you've got character. I mean, Mickey and Donald are there, and they're pulling characters from who knows however many cartoons or other clips to fill this. But Bill Farmer and Jason Marsden just killed it.
Yeah, they
on
really
this
do.
section, singing together and feeding off each other. Like being in that booth and getting to experience that live, I bet is something else. And there's a video clip. I don't think it's on Disney Plus. I did see it on YouTube that they're actually in a 1970s AMC
Mm-hmm.
and singing together. So that's another fantastic one.
I believe, they did. I believe they did their own it was kind of a trailer for the documentary, but
I think so.
they found a car that they have based the Goof, I would say the Goof mobile off of, and those two actors, which I would say probably now the actor that played Max, he's probably around the same age that Bill Farmer was back then. And and we talked about how timeless this movie is and everything. When it came out, it did not do that well.
So that weekend, what did they say?
Yeah.
It was second in the box office.
Yeah.
But it sold
to Bad Boys.
Yes, to Bad Boy, and it sold half. It made half the money that Bad Boys did.
Yeah.
Bad Boys, yeah.
And did you notice what was in third place? Tommy Boy.
Which is horrible. Tommy Boy is a fantastic movie, by the way. Another
one of my favorites.
Chris Farley. I do also enjoy Bad Boys.
Granted, a little different than a Goofy movie.
Just a very small amount of a difference.
Oh, but it didn't really start gain traction until it came out on video. And I think one of the reasons was, I think they kind of said, was it was cheaper than some of the other videos.
Yes, it was. It was a little bit cheaper in cost when it came out on VHS, and then plus they were also playing it on the Disney Channel a lot more than some of the other movies as well.
Well, I think part of that probably too was it wasn't the Walt Disney Animation, it was that Walt Disney Television Animation. So it's kind of like how some of the movies now that don't do that great in theaters, but when they get released on Disney Plus, have this surgence. Encanto was kind of like that.
Yep, I do agree.
Which, of course, Encanto came out 2 or 3 weeks before COVID or something like that. So it kind of, which you couldn't really predict that, but I feel like once it got released on Disney Plus, you saw this huge surge for it, and now Ellie was literally went to bed tonight in a Mirabelle sleep dress.
Well, that's adorable.
Yeah. We we need to find her a Powerline suit or something. And they talked about this some in that documentary. They didn't realize how much of a following the movie had until it had kind of reached its 20th anniversary. In 2015, they had a small panel at D23. Probably
in a back room.
Yeah, probably wasn't thinking too much about it. It's like, oh, it's the 20th anniversary. Um, and they were literally having to turn people away.
I think the documentary said they turned well
Over
over 1,000 people.
Yeah.
But so 20, and we just went back, and I went and found on YouTube the end of the panel. Now the whole panel is on YouTube, and I do remember watching because I know Casey and I were cast members at that time, so some of the merchandise had come out, for that. And one of my favorite pieces of merchandise is my Powerline T-shirt that I don't wear anymore because, well, I kind of grew, and not in the good way at that point, because this was 10 years ago. But it's the 1995 Standout Tour T-shirt.
That's so awesome.
That is, I really should make into a pillow. So I may
Goal
have to bring
shirt.
it back to, back to Florida.
Do you do that?
Do
you have your goal clothes? Like, I want to fit into this. This is my goal.
I have given up on New Year's resolutions. So we're gonna leave it at that. That's I stopped having goals a long time ago.
But they talked about how people were talking about it's their favorite movie, and even the actors that played these characters had no idea how much people loved this movie.
That's an interesting point. Casey and I were talking about that today after we finished the documentary, because she even said, back then, all the Disney company did was just listen to these, newspaper editors, all of that, because that's what they thought that was the big thing. But look at what they're doing now. They are starting to listen to more of the people. We see it in the park. They brought back the Noodles, at Ohana's. We got Happily Ever After 2.0 after the 50th for Walt Disney World.
I was shocked about that.
So was I remember on October 1st of 2021 sitting on the couch watching the live stream for Enchantment. I watched it. I turned to Casey and I said, "Is that it?" So when they announced,
I did the same thing with Kelsey.
Yep. So, but I completely forgot where we were with the Goofy movie, which is absolutely horrible.
That
panel. So at the end, when they announce and bring out Tevin Campbell, wow, along with a couple of the dancers to do eye to eye front of that small crowd. And I think that Disney went, oh my goodness. And you even heard Kevin say it as well in the documentary. Had no idea what this movie meant to people. These were the movies that were bringing, touching the hearts, bringing the people, bringing families together. That is doing what Disney does best.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's why they're kind of getting back to where they are today. God bless the Goofy movie, though. Oh, man.
Yeah.
And it even talks about, going from the very beginning of the movie to Max, PJ, and oh my goodness, what is the other friend's name? I keep forgetting it. Bobby Zimmerman, right? Yeah, Bobby Zimmerman,
played by Pauly Shore,
like New Jersey Pauly Shore.
The
No, I
kind
don't.
of crazy guy. Oh man, I just know him as a crazy guy.
So he's getting, Max is getting all excited to try to talk to Roxanne and all of this stuff. And then, as he's going to spend summer with her. And then all of a sudden, Dad wants to take him on, a trip because Pete put some idea in his head as he's working at what is either a J.C. Penney or a Dillard's. I mean,
I was
that
thinking more
photo booth.
Kmart.
Oh, could be a Kmart.
Yeah.
That photo area looked oddly familiar.
Yeah.
Like I have seen one of those in my lifetime.
Mm-hmm.
So, about how, because he got in trouble at school because of this really awesome concert he put on, being Powerline and all this. And now he's going to end up in jail and in a gang and all of this stuff. And so here we are now on this road trip, and and how it ends. And like you said, middle ground. Max realizing that Goofy just wants to be with him, and Goofy realizing how important the Powerline concert was, and then perfection.
I mean,
Gosh, what a great movie.
Yeah, truly was. And it's one of those that the more like you relate to Max, you're a kid. You relate to Goof as you get older. I feel like we all related to all the students when we were in high school, just like, hallelujah, it's summer.
So when do we go into our Principal Mazer phase?
I don't know if I'll ever have science slumber parties.
You don't want science slumber parties.
I don't know if I never did go to my principal. It's like, what can I do to not waste my summer vacation? I don't want to spend my summer sleeping or partying with my friends.
Or sitting on your butt.
Yeah.
By the way, my brother-in-law always thought that line was sitting on my bus with an S, not butt. And I texted him, I was like, have you never, see that exact part right there, is playing behind you. Like, man, I'm going to need you to listen to that song again, because he's clearly saying sitting on his butt.
At first I was going to say, I thought you were going to say my brother-in-law looks exactly like the bus driver.
No.
But it's just, it brings the feels.
It does, but you also never answered what your favorite part of the movie was.
I did, the whole thing.
Give me a part. One part. There's got to be one part that stands out more than the others.
Pun intended.
Pun intended.
Maybe the Mambo King. Everybody, Mambo. Again, the job that Goofy had to at 7:30 be able to just wake up his kid to get him to go to school, go to work, and then get off and be fully packed for a fishing trip by the time his son gets home from school.
He had to have been working from home that day. Had to have been.
I think that was before you could work from home.
Most because he had everything.
He really did.
Everything. There's got to be at least $10,000 of bait and tackle in that, in that box there.
I mean, how much do you think he lost whenever he first hit the overpass and he lost stuff?
It could have been a $5 lure.
Yeah, true. I mean, and who hasn't on a fishing trip tried to perform the perfect cast?
I have failed every time. I cannot perform with or without the fishing pole.
So, but if you had to give, the Siskel and Ebert thumbs up, what would you give a Goofy movie? 2 thumbs?
If I had more, I would give them.
Well, here's 2 more right here.
There we go. We got 4.
Yeah.
So if you liked the Goofy movie,
Let us know.
let's see the thumbs. Let's see the likes for the video.
If you like the movie, give us a thumbs up on YouTube.
There we go.
Either in the comments or with that like button.
You could do the same. You could do the same on Spotify.
Yeah.
I would love to hear, from y'all out there. I'd love to hear what y'all's favorite part. If you
Actually,
have
one of my favorite parts too was probably the part that just came up on the screen where Donald Duck made a little cameo.
yeah.
I love my Donald. See, I want them to, with as much love I feel like lately Goofy movie has been getting, to try to recapture maybe some of that magic to do Donald and his nephews. Like I mean, DuckTales is more with Scrooge, but do Donald and Huey, Dewey, and Louie.
Something more than just the shorts that we have them with. So that was one of the other things they said. This, the Goofy movie is the first movie. And I think, and correct me if I'm wrong, if you had already said this, cut me off, but they had said that a Goofy movie was one of the first movie for the Fab Five, individually for the Fab Five.
And there, other than I feel like Mickey's Christmas Carol and stuff, and I'm racking my brain of another one that is a movie like this with like this characterization, like nothing with Mickey and Minnie. Nothing with Donald.
Pluto, nothing with Donald, nothing with Daisy.
Yeah.
Or your Fab Five. Yeah.
So.
Which is 30 years. We'll see what Walt Disney Imagination has planned for the next 30.
Yeah. I could talk about Goofy movie all night, all day, all night. Such a great movie.
All weekend long.
Yep.
Right here on the Mouse Ears podcast.
All right. So stay tuned for another 12 hours. No, I'm kidding.
I don't think I could go 12 hours just, recording consistently. That's a long time.
That is a long time.
One day when we move closer to Orlando, we'll do that.
Yeah. But before we start wrapping it up, Kelton, you want to give the answer to our trivia question?
So if you remember back, our trivia question, what famous musicians were the inspiration for the Powerline character himself? And there was actually 3. So you have Prince, Senor Michael Jackson, and Bobby Brown himself. All 3 were inspiration into the creation of what we have now, Powerline.
And see, I thought it was just Prince.
See, I kind of thought the same as well. Then I saw some of when you're when you're rocking to eye, I see some Michael Jackson, especially with the dance, some of the dance moves. Bobby Brown, that one threw me there.
Well, that's kind
awesome.
of the movement and everything too. So he was kind of I would say the in between, but the fact too that Tevin Campbell was working with Prince. Rosie Gaines was one of Prince's featured singers, and was it the Welker family or something? The other background singers. I'm trying to remember
what they had said in the documentary.
I think it was like the Welker family or something. Which one part that guy singing in the background while on crutches. Did you notice that?
I know.
I was like,
killing it.
I know he is killing it. But
y'all can go back and watch on YouTube, some of the panel stuff from 2015 and the 20 year. There's plenty of that. There's also a quote unquote live action standout on YouTube that was created about 4 or 5 years ago. It was right before COVID. So that's really cool.
That's really cool too. Yeah.
So they did awesome. Oh, I love the clip coming up behind you right now, Roxanne.
But
end it here. That's a good way to go out.
But now I'm just waiting for a few years after the Monstropolis in Hollywood Studios opens up. And even though, and I say this, I love the Muppets. I love the Muppets. Disney has tried to get this current generation to be a fan of the Muppets. They have tried. They have given it their all. You need to rebrand Rock and Roller Coaster to Powerline. Like after a couple of years, or make it a rotating thing. All you gotta do is put a wrap on that guitar to different.
It's 2025. It should be easy to, most of the stuff is TVs in the queue anyway.
Yeah.
You can just upload new songs to the ride vehicles. They're missing.
You could have it like you don't know which concert you're going to until you go.
Well, there you go.
And you could be going to a Powerline concert. You could be going to a Muppets concert.
I think, yeah.
I mean, you can have a change almost like they do with Guardians of the Galaxy, where it's almost a different ride each time.
Man.
See, we tied it into travel.
There it is.
But
there it is.
Well, folks, that just about does it for this week's episode of the Mouse Ears Podcast. Don't forget to join our Mouse Ears Podcast Facebook group and follow us on TikTok, Instagram, and X to stay up to date on all things travel, but mostly Disney. And if you're interested in having a Fairy Tale Journeys agent book your next trip, visit fairytalejourneys.com and let them know that the podcast sent you. Lastly, if you enjoy our weekly episodes of the Mouse Series Podcast, which I don't see why you cannot like them, why you cannot enjoy them, which I feel bad. There's more than just us. We have the ladies of the podcast.
The ladies.
Jenny, who is actually on her way to see Epic Universe.
She's driving right now, Thursday, 17th of April.
So jealous.
Jealous.
And you have the face of the Mouse Series Podcast, Steph, who graciously let us have this God's night.
Yeah, we kicked her off for tonight. Sorry, Steph. We'll see you next week.
Yes. But if you enjoy our episodes, we would love for you to leave us a review wherever you listen to us or watch us. Until the next episode, thanks everyone. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Eye to eye.